quick answer is yes, you in reality could make $50 million in only one day from day trading. Like several business, however, the preliminary investment amount and risk related to the sort of trade might be big, but here is how it'd play out. On Thursday night, the S&P 500 E-mini futures agreement changed into buying and selling at above 2,100. Futures contracts offer leverage, meaning which you are capable of buy a great deal greater publicity to the marketplace than if you acquire ordinary stocks. So as to make $50 million on Friday, you will want to purchase a million S&P 500 E-mini futures contracts. The margin quantity required to open this kind of position is dependent upon your broker and trading history, but might typically cost around $4,200 in step with contract. One agreement equals $4,200 equals $50 in step with point. 10 contracts equals $42,000 equals $500 consistent with point. 100 contracts equals $210,000 equals $5,000 per point. 1,000 contracts equals $4, 200,000.00 equals $50,000 in keeping with point. 10,000 contracts equals $42,000.00 equals $500,000 in line with point. On Thursday, you feel that the Brexit vote is going to be successful no matter the media and pretty plenty each other economists pointing out otherwise. As a wealthy and shrewd dealer, making a decision to position up the $42 million required as preliminary margin for 10,000 S&P 500 E-mini futures contracts quick. Note that there could be different futures contracts, no longer E-mini, with a decreased preliminary margin. I'm simply pointing out a hypothetical to reply your question. You call your dealer and execute a position for 10,000 brief S&P 500 E-mini positions at 2,100.00 cutting-edge cost on Thursday night. The preliminary margin is $42,000.00. However, for each 1 point the S&P 500 moves, you either benefit or free $500,000. On Friday afternoon, you anticipated the unpredictable and near your position while the S&P 500 hits 2,000.00 points. Your $42 million initial margin is back together with an additional $50 million in earnings. Yes, a day trader can make $50 million. However, the preliminary requirements and chance required to make the sort of earnings in sooner or later are past what the majority could be able to positioned up in an entire life. Further, I doubt a broker might even open 10,000 futures contracts. If you had the $42 million sitting in a trading account, you would actually have a team of private monetary advisors and economists suggesting all distinct techniques. It just doesn't work like that in the real world. The answer to your query is yes, it theoretically ought to happen, but there are some distance too many elements to think about, and realistically you'll be supplied with an entire array of investment trading options that might yield a good deal greater profits for plenty much less risk in case you had the $42,000.00 sitting in a bank account. I really like questions like these, hold them coming. Starting with what amount? Let's say $1,000. Can you make $10,000 starting with $1,000? You may, assuming you have an effective expectancy technique in the discipline to execute. Can you are making $100,000 starting $10,000? Identical solution. Can you make $1 million starting with $100,000? Identical solution. Can you are making $10 million beginning with $1 million? Equal answer. Now, can you are making $50 million beginning with $10 million? You tell me. Brief solution is yes, because International report maximum intraday earnings is $1 billion of George Soros in USD GBP trade. I promoted United Inventory Trade, which got merged with BSE, and George Soros turned into stakeholder in that and now exited in latest IPO of BSE. Probabilities of dropping money are tons more than reaching your goal. Parent is huge effect cost in shopping for and selling, transaction price and time constraints could make you free cash. Basic, it is not a terrific concept. Soros may want to make it because he performed occasion and gambling event can always come up with any income, however might come up with big losses too if occasion W. What's it want to make thousands and thousands in trading? Can I make 30 million bucks day buying and selling if I start with 500,000? How? How can I leverage $10 million as a day trader to make 100 million? What could you do? Whilst I used to be in high college, I did paper buying and selling inside the summer season of 2000. From March to the give up of July, I paper traded the $900 I had in my bank account. I begged my mom to allow me open an account. She made excuses and eventually advised me no, I was a minor. The particular factor is, in maximum instances the whole lot came about separately, considering the fact that then I typically see most matters move around the equal time. I picked 5 shares that doubled, 3 that tripled and 2 that went up 400%. The entire in any case of these, a few passed off on the identical time, but it become more often than not one after the other turned into $5.6 million. The stocks that I nevertheless rem. Sure you can, and do it in less than 12 months pretty without problems. There is enough leverage in markets to do it. The hassle is growing talent enough to maintain directly to that cash because your gadget, which became most possibly flaky and complete of threat, is maximum probable going to reduce you back with losses the longer you play such high stakes techniques. That said, in case you start with 49 million, your hazard is very high, even without buying and selling. So the actual answer on your query is, it depends. Sure, if a person spends many years perfecting his art and has an excellent amount of capital to make investments, by the time he retires he will have around 50 million or more in his account. There are numerous who have already finished it, but that variety is in minority due to the fact not everybody has the endurance and perseverance to ace as a dealer because it smiles a totally worrying career. Sure you can, however the chance of it going on is near zero. It'll take you at the least 10 years if you cross it by myself. Much less when you have a mentor, work especially tough and may display a track document which pulls buyers. When you have 1 billion. I am kidding, but most probable not. I understand a few professionals that have Ivy pedigree, 2 decades experience at the ground, and they're in the 5-10 million variety. Most make extra cash promoting their techniques, stay trading room offerings, software program, and many others. Online. Now, this comes with a caveat. In case you throw in different human beings as money, which means hedge finances, it is very in all likelihood. A few would say, properly hedge budget don't day exchange, but that is not genuine in any respect. Some of the maximum widely recognized hedge price range have strategies they deploy within their fund through separate money owed sub-debts that day alternate and usually have. HFTs firms are essentially day traders, and one of the maximum secretive and most successful funds within the international has constantly been a day